A little longer than I thought, and I was chatting with the barista. So here we are, and make sure everything is copacetic. Okay. Good morning, everybody. All the people that have come in right away. Today we got a little different kind of subject, and I'll get into why in a few moments. I think it's an interesting subject. Are you an expat or are you an immigrant? Some people take great offense at this. You know, some people think you need to be called an immigrant. It's not fair to the immigrants and all this other kind of stuff. But I'm going to get into that in a moment. Thank you for joining me here. I hope everyone is doing very well. Good morning, Mr. Jim. Good morning. Today we're going to talk a little bit about what's happening in Thailand. We've got a little bit of news, not too much. And also we're going to be talking about the topic of the day, which is, are you an immigrant or are you an expat? Are you an expat or are you an immigrant? And believe it or not, a lot of people don't know the difference. There is a difference. And there's a reason for me making this video, and that's because I like to inform, I like to educate, I like to entertain. So that's why we're going over that today. But the Thai baht right now, 32.79 to the dollar. Right now it is 69 degrees, nice and cool. And actually, Beer was telling me, I thought she said I'm old, but she was saying I'm cold. She's cold right now. High of 88, low of 65. The feel-like temperature is 71, 59% humidity. Winds are just under 2 miles an hour. Visibility about 14 miles or 22 kilometers. And the air quality is an unhealthy 128. So I don't know how that works. The air quality is very bad, and yet the visibility is quite good. So yeah, it's been getting cold lately. I don't know why. As you know, this is the last day for Starbucks to be open here. This Starbucks will be shut down for 5 months. I haven't got the complete details, but it's supposed to be a little bit bigger when it's finished, and it's supposed to be safer, and they're working on things. And I saw that out on the street they're digging up the water lines. I mean, you know, there's huge water lines, drainage system, and they're digging up all over the place. Right in front here, they're digging up. Oh, that's interesting. Patya Bob, thank you. How you doing? So they're working on everything feverishly in an effort to get things completed for the monorail, and hopefully it will turn out for the best. Jim, Miss Beer will be working at another location. Miss Preo is gone. She no longer works for Starbucks. She quit. Apparently she's getting married or something like that. So there goes that, you know, oh, I don't have a boyfriend. Not. And then it was, well, okay, I have one. Oh, no, then I broke up. Oh, no, I have a boyfriend. And then, you know, next thing I know, it's, well, I have one, but I don't really want to have one. And then it's, oh, she didn't tell me, but the girls told me, I should be getting married. So, you know, whatever. Well, there's some distinct differences, and that is one thing, is that it's a permanent move. But I'm going to get into that in a moment. I want to talk a little bit about the news. And, you know, before I go on here, today's shout-outs go to Mr. Mitch, Mr. Richard, Mr. Suwon, and also Dimitri. So thank you very much. please consider giving this video, this stream, a thumbs up if you like the channel or whatever. Subscribe to it, and thank you for being here. If you'd like to support the channel in any way, just take a look down below. There's numerous ways to help. But the news topic of the day, I would say, is that this continuing saga of the Taiwanese influencer / actress. Now, I looked her up on IMDb. She's only got one movie under her belt, but whatever. Okay, I mean, in that context, then I could be considered an actress, an actor, because I've been in a movie and a Nat Geo documentary. So I guess I'm an actor too. But she is an influencer, very popular, and if you don't remember, if you're not aware of what's going on, she got stopped by the Thai police. Her and her friends, her boyfriend and a couple other people got stopped. Now, she had a vape pen in her possession, but first it was, oh, your visa's not valid. Now it's, you have a vape pen, so you have to pay a fine. Oh, how much is the fine? Where do I do that? You've got to, something to that effect. You've got to pay 27,000 baht, which is like $850, $860, something like that. The Thai police initially said, oh, no, that never happened. We have the footage to prove it never happened. Okay? And now, it just came out in the last, I think it's in the last 12 hours, but I've got it here. It came out that the police are now confirming the extortion of her at a checkpoint. They're admitting that it did happen. And actually, the superintendent in charge of the men involved have been transferred. Superintendent of the Hue Quang Police Force, Police Colonel Yingyo Suwano, has been transferred to the Metropolitan Police Bureau after allegations arose that some of his officers extorted 27,000 baht from a Taiwanese actress. The actress was reportedly in possession of an electronic cigarette when stopped at a checkpoint in front of the Chinese embassy in Hue Quang district. Royal Police spokesman, Police Major Archayan Kraitong, announced that the National Police Chief, Police General Damrong Sak Kittiprapat, ordered the transfer and set up disciplinary committee to investigate the accused officers as a demonstration of the consequences for such actions. The police chief also reminded all officers at road checkpoints to strictly to follow the guidelines, to maintain transparency and avoid bribery. Good morning, good morning. Sawati Kap, Sawati Ton Chow to everybody. The 27,000 baht reportedly given by the actress's Singaporean boyfriend was allegedly divided among the officers at the checkpoint before the actress was released without charges. Now, I've read many comments about this, and I've had a couple people say things to me about this. Even my wife initially, she goes, she's guilty. And then when I told her, oh no, they've already admitted that they did it. Huh, really? She goes, it figures. And this is not good for tourism either, because a lot of people have told me already, man, what is it? I can't even go to Thailand and worry about getting shaken down. And well, that's not the case in most instances. It just doesn't happen all that often. All it takes is one bad apple, baby. All it takes is one bad apple, Bibby. And, you know, it ruins it. A lot of people, they get scared, you know. So that's what's going on there with this extortion case. And hopefully they'll figure it all out. They'll get it worked out. And it won't continue to happen, because it's just not good for, the country. It's not good for the tourism. Anyway, let me go on here, because I don't want to spend too much on the news today. If you haven't heard, Chiang Mai was named Southeast Asia's safest city. It ranks first in Southeast Asia, 32nd globally among 416 cities. That says a lot. And this is according to Numbeo. The city scored 75 0.5 for safety in Southeast Asia. Trailing Davao in the Philippines, that's kind of surprising to me, but okay. And Singapore, 70.8. Meanwhile, the capital of the United Arab Emirates, Abu Dhabi, was named the world's safest city with 88.8 points, followed by Doha in Qatar and Taipei in Taiwan. The Thai government was acknowledged for their efforts in maintaining safety and improving the quality of life for citizens, with the government spokesman Anucha Borapha Chaisari stating its goal is to boost confidence among foreigners. Well, maybe he should talk to the police force. You know, just a suggestion. The ranking reflects the government's efforts in reducing crime and improving people's lives. Numbeo is well known as a global database that provides indicators on various aspects of life, including housing, crime rates, health care, transportation, and cost of living. And I would say the longer that Numbeo is around, the better and more accurate the figures will be. It used to be that they were a little off sometimes, and they can still be off, but for the most part, they're pretty good now. So that's something, you know, it's great for Chiang Mai, and, you know, I've been spending a lot of time in Chiang Mai this past year because my wife likes to go there. And I have grown to like it more than I used to. In some rather sad news, a Swedish national died immediately after his motorcycle overshot a curve in Roy Et's Sawanapum district just 5 days after he met his Thai girlfriend. Police, medical staff, and rescuers rushed to the scene where the body of the Swede, only identified as Stefan, was found. Police believe the accident occurred because the victim was speeding and possibly lost control at the curve, fell into a roadside ditch, and hit his head on a concrete pipe. Ooh, brutal. His body has been taken in for an autopsy, with legal proceedings to follow. Meanwhile, the Swede's girlfriend, Veronuk Butingkong, 27, said they had been speaking over social media for the past 2 years before Stefan flew to Thailand for the first time 5 days ago. After lunch, Stefan said he wanted to go on a ride and take photographs, so I warned him to be careful, she said. Stefan died some 6 kilometers from her village. That's sad. That's sad, you know. But these things happen, and this is why I always recommend, if you're not a very capable driver, don't drive here. I mean, the roads are bad enough, the drivers are bad enough, so it makes sense that you need to be extra careful. And let's face it, alcohol, and also, and I'm not saying that in this case, but alcohol tends to be a main factor in accidents late at night, and speed is also another factor, day or night. And yeah, there was a time when I used to ride, I mean, that's all I drove in the States was a motorcycle. I always had a motorcycle. I had a Suzuki GS850, I had a Yamaha 900, had a Yamaha shaft-driven 650, I had a Honda CB 650, and I had like a Kawasaki 400, and I don't remember what else I had, but well, yeah, but that doesn't mean people don't drive without them. I mean, you know, it's easy enough. It's a piece of cake. You know, you just get on the bike and go. I mean, think about how many taxi drivers don't have licenses and aren't supposed to be driving a taxi. So, you know, these things happen. You need to be extra careful. And I would say if you're some newbie coming in, this guy, you know, I don't know if he's ever been to Thailand, but especially on your first trip, don't rent a motorbike. It's just not a bright way to go. And this is coming from somebody who's a longtime motorcycle driver, and I miss riding a motorcycle. And I've thought many times about getting a bike. Probably the only way that I would do that is if I lived in a little village where there wasn't much traffic, and I didn't have to go very far, and I didn't use it to drive, you know, for hours at a time or whatever. And he was only 6 kilometers away from home. That's another thing. It used to be, I don't know if it's the same way here, but it used to be back in the States that most accidents happened within a certain radius. It was fairly close to home. So be careful. All right, now, that's about all I have for news. There are some other things. They'll be going up on my website. If you take a look at my website, it's coming along. There's one little glitch I have. It's a small glitch, but I will fix it. And then the rest of what needs to be done is just continue transferring some of the old data, add a few things. I got to change a few links and that kind of thing. But other than that, the site is going to have news. It's going to have information about Thailand and other destinations. It's going to have all kinds of stuff. So please take a look at americaninbangkok.com. Now, let's get to this topic of the day. It seems like more people than usual have been writing in about things that I've talked about. And some of the people, I just, you know, I don't want to name call, but I will say that some of the people that write in, at least a percentage of them are extremely intellectually challenged. That's my nicest way of putting it. Intellectually challenged, probably socially challenged as well. So I didn't particularly like what this guy wrote. Now, he could be a troll, I don't know, and I don't care because he still wrote what he wrote. And when you hear it, you will understand exactly what I'm getting into. But just hang on for a few moments and I'll get to it. This was after I posted the stream titled The Expat Life, The Truth as I See It. I got this comment. And the basic question, and one person already answered, but there is a lot more to it. There's a fair bit more to it. And I've heard people complain about people being expats and, why aren't they an immigrant? And it's so disrespectful and all these other things. So what is the difference between an immigrant and an expat? That's the question of the day. What are you? If you live here in Thailand, what are you? Are you an expat? Do you consider yourself an immigrant? So let's get into this, and I'm going to give you the literal definitions of both words, all right? This is a definition I found online. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's perfect, but I would say this is pretty dead on. An immigrant is a person who moves to a foreign country with the intention of residing there permanently, as the person in the chat, Barnaby or whatever his name is, said, and establishing a new life, typically someone who obtains citizenship in the new country. Now, many times they are moving there for financial reasons. They're moving there out of desperation, but not always, okay? Now, an expat, on the other hand, is a person who resides in a foreign country for a limited period of time, usually for work or study purposes. Expatriates typically maintain their citizenship in their home country and intend to return there after their time abroad. An expatriate, or an expat, may also have a higher level of financial means and privileges compared to an immigrant. There are many people in Thailand, we'll say, Burmese, Laotians, Cambodians. They are immigrants. They are considered, even by the Thai government, as immigrants. They don't consider me or any of my friends that are foreigners who are living here, the Thai government does not necessarily consider us immigrants, at least not to our faces. So let me read what this guy wrote. It's just a short paragraph. And I think you'll see immediately why this paragraph is not only troublesome, but like I said, this is one of those people who is very intellectually challenged and lacking in brain matter. Not only that, you'll see what I mean. Gotta love white people using the word expat when they're really immigrants. Now, this guy, I'm going to say, numerous people write me in with these kind of comments. And what I've noticed is there is a theme. Most of them don't ever use punctuation. They spell words horribly wrong. They do things like there, and they write T-H-E-I-R when it's supposed to be T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E. They spell words wrong like that. But they just have this run-on sentence or run-on sentences after sentences. So to me, it shows listen, I understand people don't always spell correctly. And maybe this is a sign of our time. So I'm going to say he's a bit of a younger person. I'm just guessing. But I do know I did take a look at his channel. And yeah, it's his comments are somewhat stupid. Gotta love white people using expat when they're really, what he writes is, and I'm just saying these things, adding things into, because the way he wrote it is just, it doesn't sound right. It's because everything is a run-on sentence. Gotta love white people using expat when they're immigrants. By the way, Gennaro, your little friend is here, Miss Beer. Also, today's the last day of the month. I need to earn, now I don't necessarily mean online. If I make $37, I beat last year's total. I know it doesn't sound like much, but even if I beat it by a penny, to me that's, okay, I improved. I didn't improve that much, but. So, however you want to help, you want to get yourself a shirt, whatever. I was going to wear my American in Bangkok shirt. However, it was chilly outside. As soon as I opened the door to let the cat out today, I knew it was really cold. It was colder than 69 degrees when I woke up. It was 4 in the morning. It must have been 62 or something like that. I don't know, but I was cold when I opened the door up, so I thought, I'm not going to wear that T-shirt. I'm going to wear a little heavier shirt today. Anyway, let me go on here. Gotta love white people using expat when they're immigrants. Literally, white people will come up with another name for things so that they don't look bad. You're no better than the Hispanics coming into America at the southern border. Congrats, you're a special white person thinking you're not an immigrant. Now, I could respond and I could crucify this guy. Because this is the kind of mentality, this is the mentality that makes me go, I don't give up. And you know what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say it because YouTube is very, very finicky. The last stream was demonetized, probably because I was talking about that green leafy substance that has become legalized in Thailand. They demonetized it. So I got to be careful what I say. Anyway, I'm here to educate a little bit. First of all, Hispanics coming into America at the southern border. Well, I guess it depends if they're coming into the southern border and they're coming in legally or they're coming in illegally. I am living here in Thailand legally, so the difference between myself and somebody who's just trying to sneak across the American border is huge. Huge. It's huge. It's massive. Okay, I'm legal, he's not. I'm legal, he's not. I'm legal, he's not. Yeah, well, Rumble is in my horizon. People coming across the southern border, listen, I understand why they do it. They're not coming because they're like, I feel like seeing America. No, they're coming because they want to have a better life. I understand that. So, I'm not attempting to vilify those that are coming over. However, illegal is illegal. Now, illegals come into Thailand, and generally they are allowed to work, just like people coming in from Mexico are allowed to work the fields or whatever. I'm not sure. Some of them may have temporary allowances. They may have the day passes like they have here or something like that, or whatever it might be, seasonal passes. But there's a big difference between someone who's coming in illegally and someone who has been here legally. Okay, so let's just, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Okay, I mean, to say that I'm exactly the same as them is just, where'd you come up with that? I mean, what? And anyway, here's the thing. You can call me whatever you want, doesn't matter. Whether I'm an immigrant or an expat, it makes no difference to me. I'm not hurt by it. And that's the problem nowadays. All these people are hurt by certain words. Oh, don't say that, I'm gonna cry. Oh my God, you don't love me anymore. I hate you because you call me a bad word. Ugh. Come on, get over it, pal. I don't care. But I do want to educate you because, you know, I understand you're challenged. Now, if I was an immigrant, well, an immigrant is someone who lives outside their native country as well. But there are differences, and I'm getting into them. So, if I was an immigrant, which I am not, at least technically speaking, so what? And to the immigrants that come in, I don't think I don't think that they would say, "Oh, I'm an expat. I came over here because I came because I wanted to see the world. I wanted a different life. I didn't necessarily want a better life. I was doing fine back in the States." I'm not embarrassed by either word, and I don't think that someone living here as an expat should be crucified for not being called an immigrant, and vice versa. So, like I said, you know, you can call me what you want, but I don't really give a damn, Scarlet, Snowflake. Yes. Many expats come to live permanently. That's why they retire here. They figure they're going to come here and live forever. However, let me go on. And let me explain everything here. Now, like I said, call me what you want. However, why do you feel the need, why does this particular person feel the need to bring up my skin color? When do I ever talk about skin color on this channel? I don't. I don't talk about it because I don't really care. Now listen, whatever it is, it is. If you happen to be, you know, if I'm white, if I'm yellow, if I'm black, whatever it is, I didn't choose to be that way. I'm just born and this is how it is. Just like a snake doesn't choose to be a snake and a frog doesn't choose to be a frog. Okay? They have no choice in the matter when they're finally hatched, born, whatever. So this argument has absolutely nothing, it has nothing to do with skin color. None at all. You want to argue whether I'm an expat or an immigrant, that's one thing, and it's perfectly acceptable. I understand. You want to make your case and you want to think I'm the idiot. I don't care, whatever. But don't play don't pull that card on me, because even if you're trolling, I don't give a shit. Say what you want. I really don't care. Okay? Because it is irrelevant to this conversation. Absolutely irrelevant. You want to talk about something else? That's a different story. We'll do that on Rumble, all right? Now, let's break it down here. One might argue I could be considered either an expat or an immigrant because, but if I still maintain my citizenship in the United States and have not pursued citizenship in Thailand, I could and should be considered an expat. On the other hand, I've lived here for almost 30 years. I've established a family and a life here, and I am unsure if I will ever move from here. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's 50-50. So in that regard, maybe I could be considered an immigrant. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, Jim. I don't care what I'm called. Call me what you want. Say what you want. You know, I've had people saying, oh, you know, you went on this trip and you must be divorced now because you don't bring your family. All these idiotic comments. Well, they have the intention is to become a citizen. Now, you know, I really get, you just cannot imagine how many idiotic comments that some people who are on YouTube may get. Some people may never get them. I tend to attract them for some reason. However, you know, as I said, maybe some people would consider me an immigrant. The distinction between these two words is depends on personal circumstances, such as the length of time that you're in the country, the reason for the move, and the intention to make the new country a permanent home and to garner citizenship. Okay? In my case, in some people's view, it could be argued that I transitioned from an expat to an immigrant, but the exact classification, again, depends on your own perception and circumstances. Now, as an expat, I still have my citizenship in the United States. I'm not going to give it up, barring me getting filthy rich, which in that case, if I was filthy rich, I would probably I would just, you know, pay the taxes. Wouldn't matter. I have looked into citizenship and permanent residency. And even permanent residency is a little tricky for most people, especially if you're considered a retiree. If you come here and you work and you're 30 and you think, oh, my career is here in Bangkok, okay, after a couple of years, after 3 years, you go for your permanent residency and it's a little easier. However, you still need to be able to speak Thai at a certain level. Yes, you do, Bob. You have to be a citizen in order to get their passport. I have looked into becoming a permanent resident, as I said. However, it is very unlikely that I will ever even attempt to get citizenship here for several reasons, one of which I don't care if I'm Thai or not. I don't have to be. I don't need or want this citizenship because I don't think for me, the government is not foreigner friendly enough for me, in my opinion, to make it a worthwhile endeavor and to pay the money. And, you know, it's just not worth it. There are other places that are better suited for someone who wants to become, you know, a citizen of their country. Now, the odds are 50-50 that I will move in the next few years, at least part-time. It probably will happen to where at least several months out of the year, we move and we stay somewhere for 3-4 months, 6 months. It's gonna happen. So I am not gonna be here permanently 100%. Now, who knows, depending on the circumstances, I may end up going back to the United States at one point. I may go to Ecuador, I may go to Portugal, I may go to Costa Rica, I may go to some other country. I don't know. I'm not sure, that's the thing. But I am also not sure that, I'll be staying here forever. So let me get to some of these messages here before I go on. If I can get my mouse to work. Oops. All right, let's see here. I don't care what you have Yellow Book or not? Soon I'll have working on that. Technically, with PR status, green card in the United States, immigrants. Shallow, yes, some of the shops are charging ridiculous prices. I stick with the local growers. I have an idiotic comment. I think you will never be a true immigrant in Thailand. You're probably right, and that's not an idiotic comment. That is a dead-on comment. At least in my view. Hey, I'm not perfect, but Yellow Book and Pink Book does not make you an immigrant or grant you any rights. Yeah, it doesn't. I've been checking out the places near our place. Listen, Dallo, I told you. I got a little something. I got a couple little connections for you. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to say anything more. I think you can't be an immigrant until you have a full residency. You need to be a citizen. Residency and citizenship are not the same. It was funny because his wife is always bugging him. My wife? My wife's not always bugging me. She's a woman. She's gonna say things. She wants things done a certain way, and we have our own changes going on. Hey, please don't forget to click the thumbs up button and all that good stuff. We got our own things going on here. We've been looking around for a condo and a house, a townhouse or house or whatever. We've been looking around. I still haven't put that members video up yet, but I am going to. And I'm supposed to look at a place this afternoon that my wife has already looked at, and it looks very good from the pictures. What is going on here? It looks very good from the pictures and the video that she's shown me. It looks very nice. So I'm going to take a look this afternoon. So that's going on, and then Alex is just about graduated, and he's almost 22 now, and he's chomping at the bit to get his own place because his younger brother has his own place. And I think he's grown to the age now where, even as good of kids as they are, eventually they want to strike out on their own. They want to see what it's like to be alone and living on their own. And he's getting to that point. He's at that point. He's not getting to that point. He is at that point. So we got things going on here. And then of course I'm trying to, do things with the channel and my website, and I've got other things I'm working on. So, lots going on. Where is 2QA today? What happened? The last time I think he was out, he had some personal matters to tend to. We have a line group with local expat growers growing really great stuff. Far, far less than what the shops are charging. Well, Fire Dude, you should hit me up. I don't know how we can contact each other, but you should hit me up. I'm online, but I'll have to finagle a few settings first. You can find me on there, and I also have a group. So maybe it would be good to, for the local growers, if people knew about them. Everyone coming across the southern border in U.S. is considered an immigrant, despite a majority not having a passport. My wife became an Aussie citizen, then got an Aussie passport, using Thai and Aussie passports when we go to Thailand. Well, that's what my kids do. My extension of stay is based on non-immigrant visa, so I must be an expat. Well, I think they do that for a number of reasons. They use that word, but and they can call it, frankly, like I said, I don't care what they call me. Travel is the only thing that you buy that makes you richer. Well, I forgot what that Mark Twain travel, Mark Twain. He said something very, as he always did, very prolific when it comes to travel. And I'm going to tell you what it is in just a moment. Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth in all one's lifetime. And man, that is true. It's funny. It's like, when you travel, it expands your mind. So, I'm trying to find the short one. There was one shorter one that I thought, was even better. Anyway, let's go on here. Let me finish these real quick. You'll have to hook me up. Hopefully they'll deliver. They all deliver, man. They don't play around because they know it's their it's the end of them if they don't deliver. I didn't know that Thailand recognized dual citizenship. Yes, they do. Now, technically, okay, thank you. Technically, when you're 18, you're supposed to make a choice. However, this is never enforced, ever. I've never heard one person being told, oh, you have to give up your American citizenship or your British citizenship or whatever by the Thai government. Now, some other country might have a problem with it, but not here. My kids have dual citizenship. They have 2 passports. We use them when we go out to another country. We use one passport, like if going to the United States. We leave on the Thai passport, enter on the American passport, exit on the American passport, and then re-enter in the Thai passport. So, let's see here. So when you find a decent condo, let me know. I'm looking for a place to buy in Bangkok so I can stop paying the hotel prices in Bangkok. Okay, Bob, I will do that. Yes, that is a very good quote. Mark Twain is fantastic, and he was a wise man. Everyone have a great day. Okay, Michael, you take it easy. Guys, don't let me go get shut out today. $37, that's all I need to beat the record. Somebody get a shirt or something, or buy a book, or become a member or something. And leave the thumbs up if you don't mind. I've only got 15 thumbs up. Come on. Some people don't like talking about this subject. Or now I got 18. Some people don't like talking about this subject because it's painful for whatever reason. Well, my cousin is this and my cousin is that. And there was a time when someone that I know pretty well, said to me, oh, I think you should just let everybody come across the border. It would help them so much. And I'm like, yeah, but what about the United States of America? How is it going to help them if you have people coming across from all walks of life? Some who are, let's face it, some are good people, some are bad people. Just like anywhere, you get a certain percentage, the good and the bad. If you just let everybody come in unfettered, unvetted, that's just to me. And I was like, okay, so then anybody who wants to come into the country, let them into your house, let them come on to your sofa, sit there with their feet up, and let them rummage through your refrigerator. And of course it was, oh no, they can't do that. Well, then why would you let them come into the country illegally? I mean, it's not anything, to me, I don't think there's anything bad about that. Oh, well, that's good to know, Dowlow. Wake up, Chowderhead. Bad and Anyway, let me get back here to my point. Let me get back to the edumacation. The fact that I do not plan to become a Thai citizen and may consider moving to another country in the future, whether it be the United States, Ecuador, Portugal, Costa Rica, wherever, supports my own and many others' opinion, our view. Okay, thank you, Fire Dude. That we are expats. Take it however you want. Call me what you want. It doesn't matter to me. As I keep saying, I really don't care. At the end of the day, it's a discussion. I'm not going to get bent out of shape by it. I'm not going to get hurt by it. I don't think very highly of you as a commenter, not you, random commenter, but the person who sent this message, for numerous reasons. I don't think that your comment or your view makes a difference to the vast majority of people. I don't think many people are going to get hurt by it, and I don't think many people care at all. I don't think anyone cares, quite frankly. And, I don't like to say, oh, I don't care, because I know that that's something, if I go, I really don't care about you. I really don't care what you think. That basically says you're nothing. And you know what? That's how I feel. Get over it. I'm sure you will. This is the problem nowadays. Too many hurt feelings over nothing. In my experience, when a Westerner moves to Thailand, most simply want to work at a job that they found or try to find a job. They want to retire. And only a scant few ever become citizens. I know a few people who have become citizens, but the bottom line is, you want to say hello, Beer? Say hello, Beer. Beer. Beer, Miss Beer. There she is. There you go. She won't be working here anymore. She will not be working at this location anymore, at least for 5 months while they're renovating. Let me go on here. Like I said, only a scant few become citizens. Some end up going back home. Let's face it. You know how many vloggers, bloggers, whatever you want to call, I bumped into online and offline. And they're like, oh yeah, I live in Thailand. How long you been living here? 2 years. And then, 6 months later, I'm like, oh, I wonder how so-and-so's doing. I click on their channel, and they're like back home in the United States, or they're, in some other country. Okay, they're an expat. They're not an immigrant. So don't get it twisted, pally. I do think it's important that people know the difference between an expat and an immigrant. And clearly the person who wrote this comment, now like I said, it could be a troll, but hopefully this person knows now what the difference is. And maybe that little sponge in between his ears, and I say little, hopefully he will figure out the difference, and he will never send a comment as stupid as that again. Never. Well, there's only 3 seasons here. And right now we're still a little bit in the cool season, although it is getting to be the hot season. And the average temperature, I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit, 30 to 35 degrees. And typically, yes, it's hot. Let me see what the difference is here. 30 Celsius. I still don't know. I guess it's 86 degrees Fahrenheit and 35. It's between 30 and 35. Depends on where you are. 95 degrees. Sometimes it's even more than that. It's even hotter than that. And then the feel-like temperature tends to be quite hot because, the humidity. And the rains do start to come, but all in all, it's going to be hot. And little known fact: if you're a naturalized U.S. citizen born in a foreign country, then become a U.S. citizen. If you become a citizen of a third country, USA will cancel USA citizenship. I.e., born in a foreign country, then become a well. See, I don't know how that works for my kids, Patsy Bob, because they became U.S. citizens almost immediately after they were born here in Thailand, and they are American citizens. The heat can be a bitch here. Let's just face facts. But it's better than being 0 degrees, freezing cold. This guy comes in every day, and he tries to talk to me. I don't know where he's from, but he's always asking lots of questions. I don't know if he's new. He's young, kind of young. Yeah, they're not naturalized. So I don't think there's any hassle with them. I don't know if they'll ever get another, who knows? I didn't think when I was 20 years old, I didn't think, I may end up getting a citizenship in a different country or permanent residency in a different country. But, I'm not sure. Maybe if I was somebody who was struggling to get across the border and finding a better life for myself and my family. Maybe it would offend me to be called an immigrant, not an expat. I don't know. I can't see that happening. I just don't see it. I do not see it. So, I mean, they do make you give up your American passport. See, that's not going to happen. They cannot let a U.S. citizen in the U.S. with a foreign passport. Well, wait a minute. My kids are U.S. citizens, and they went into the United States. Oh, well, they went in with their U.S. passport. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I guess they would know, but and I would definitely not give up I wouldn't give up my U.S. passport for a Singaporean passport. I just wouldn't do it. It's not valuable enough to me. And I know Singapore is I know all about Singapore. Or a fair bit about Singapore. I don't want to sound like I know it all because I don't, but it's a relatively small place. Everybody knows your name. And especially if you're some guy who's like, you're a player, you're going to get found out real quick. Well, I will say this, and this is an irritant, and that is the tax situation for Americans around the world. This goes for my kids as well. Okay? We upgraded our insurance. And one of the forms that needs to be filled out, even for my kids, is a W-9. And I'm like, why do you have to? And they gave me a W-Ben something. It was for corporations. And I'm like, why are you giving me this form? You don't even know why you're giving me this form. And this is how the banks are as well. They generally, now there may be some banking people that really know their stuff and they will, they understand what the purpose of it is. But there are some, they haven't got a clue. And he also had the W-Ben. And I'm like, why does he have to fill this out? He's an American citizen. He's not a non-resident alien. Nope, boom, those papers are gone. So they do require W-9s though. And I don't like that about the government, and I think the U.S. government, and I think at some point there may be backlash. There may be some backlash. Well, I don't know what the arrangement is and what the procedure is. Hang on a second. What the procedure is to get a Japanese citizenship. But we're going to find out. He must reside in Japan for at least 5 years, must be of a good moral character. Well, thank you, I am. Have a sufficient understanding of Japanese language and culture, just like here. Renounce their previous citizenship. Submit a naturalization application to the local government office. The application process also requires submission of documents such as residency certificate and proof of income. The approval of the application is ultimately at the discretion of the Japanese government. So that's what you got to do there. I don't know the exact figures. Now, for Thailand, you have to be here for 5 years. You have to have your permanent residency first. You have to have a good understanding of the Thai language and culture, not have a criminal record. So I guess that's the be of good moral character. Have sufficient income or assets to support oneself in Thailand. Submit a citizenship application to the local district office. You need the residency certificate and proof of financial stability. The approval of the application, again, is ultimately at the discretion of the government. So, you know. Well, good for him or her. Whatever they may be. I mean, you know, if that's what they want, go for it. I personally, I don't see it happening because the benefits are not great enough, honestly. No. No, 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 no. It will not. And, you know, I guess if you're sure you want to live here all your life and you've got sufficient funds and you qualify, then I would think, you know, okay, why not? That's up to you, you know. As long as they don't say, give me that U.S. passport. Japan, Singapore, 193. I don't care. I wouldn't give up my passport, my U.S. passport for Singapore, and I wouldn't give up an Australian passport for Singapore. Yeah, the thing is that most of the places that you can't get in as like an American or a Brit or an Aussie, you just have to pay a bit of money and you can get in. So, and then you'll be a tourist. There's nothing wrong with being a tourist. There's nothing wrong with being an expat. And there's nothing wrong with being an immigrant. You know, so it is what it is. Let's see here. And I really believe this, I have found out there ain't no surer way to find out whether you like people or hate them than to travel with them. That's another Mark Twain quote. It's a pretty good one. And man, ain't that the truth. I'll give you another one. It liberates the vandal to travel. You never saw a bigoted, opinionated, stubborn, narrow-minded, self-conceited, almighty, mean man in your life, but he had stuck in one place since he was born and thought God made the world and dyspepsia and bile for his special comfort and satisfaction. Okay. All right, well. That's enough of Mark Twain. I saw a special on Mark Twain. I saw a PBS documentary. I think I still have the CDs or the DVDs or whatever they are. It was quite good. He's a very interesting man, or he was. So, well, you know, there is a distinct difference between traveling alone and traveling with a friend and traveling with a family member. I don't mind traveling with a friend or two, as long as we get along somewhat. We can bicker back and forth. I mean, let's face it, 2Q Asia and I, on our travels, we bicker back and forth. We joke sometimes, and that's okay. Same goes with Steve, the guy that I traveled to Chiang Mai with, which the videos will be coming up soon. When it comes to my wife, you know, I mean, listen, any guy who's been married for 20 plus years, you know that there are going to be times when everything's fantastic. You're traveling and everything is clicking, you're gelling, the motor's running perfectly. You both got it going on. And then there's times when she's grouchy, you're grouchy, and you're like, man, just leave me alone. You're wrong. I told you to go left, not right. Shit happens. Things happen. So I think a bit of tolerance and understanding, acceptance, accepting that, both of you may get tired, and sometimes you might be tired at the same time. And when that happens, that's generally when it's better you just take a nap, or you stay away from each other until you mellow out. So I'm very careful about who I travel with and where and how long I'm with them and that kind of thing. I have found the most bigoted and prejudiced people are those who have never left their birthplace. Well, and I know this might sound harsh, but I think some of them are just flat out ignorant. It's all, America's the best place in the world. There's no other place like it. Oh my God, you live in Thailand? Do they have nice hotels there? Do they have electricity where you are? Can you get cable there? I mean, let's fight. You could say ignorant or you could say naive. I think there's people of all sorts. Yeah, Mark Twain lived a very interesting life. Another guy I like, and he's still alive, is Paul Theroux. He's written some great books and some great travel books. I've never managed to make it through, Dark Star Safari. It's a massive book, and I start reading it, and then the next thing I know, I'm like, I'm going to read something else. And I'll get back to that book, then I never get back to it. I often travel with family. In many cases, it isn't entirely enjoyable. The same goes traveling with larger groups, as the amount of input regarding activities and where to eat is diminished. Or the people mistake Taiwan for Thailand. Yeah, that happens all the time. I'll tell you something, Jim, and I've already said this to you, but like for me, I'm either the boss or the equal. So when I travel, I want to be in charge, or I want to at least have a 50% input in what's going on. And what I find is, and I traveled, when I traveled, I don't know, some of you guys may remember, but when I traveled over, when I went down I think it was the last time I went down to the south, and I was in, I think it was Nakhon Si Thammarat. I went to Suratani, and then we drove across and we went to this beach, and it was like a Thai beach, and I think there was one foreigner there, and that was all I saw. I don't even remember the name of the beach. That's how much I enjoyed it. But we've been a few places. When we go down to the south, we've been a few places with family. My wife's family, extended family. And, they are very accommodating for the most part, and they don't get intrusive. And it's my wife I have to deal with, and maybe one other person that, tends to be the leader in the village, because we're not there most of the time. The leader of the clan, if you will. And you know what? I just tell myself I'm going along for the ride, and I don't even say anything. Most of the time I don't say anything, because I don't want to get involved in any kind of a bickering contest. And I trust my wife enough to know if I'm going to do something, it's not going to be with the group, we're going to go somewhere, it's not going to be so painful to me that I'm going to hate every second of it. So I'm fortunate in that regard. And also, we don't go on that many trips with the extended family. So I can take the pain, or any pain that there is, I can let loose of the reins every so often, every couple of years or once a year, whatever it is, I can do that. When I go with the wife, it's more of a negotiation. hey, what do you think about this place? And a lot of times she'll go, like when I said, you want to go on the trip down the river? She's like, no. She's flat out says no. I said to her the other day, I said, hey, you want to go with me to Sunkerbury? No. Why not? I don't like it. I said, well, how do you know you don't like it if you've never been there? I just don't want to go. Okay, but I do, so I'm going, or wherever it might be. And that's how it works. So, anyway, expat or immigrant. For some people, this is a big deal. For me, it's not a big deal. It's just like going into those special shops with the weeds in them. I don't really care about them, as I've already explained. Is it that important to me? No, it's not. Now, some people, they can never get out of, if my wife is going, that means her sister's going and their mother is going and the sister's husband's going and their kids are going. Everybody's got to go. And this is something, I did experience this when I first came to Thailand and first started hooking up and getting a little more serious with the women. And that is, if you were anywhere near their home, listen, my family would like to have dinner with us. Oh, okay. And then it's the mother, the father, the sister, the brother, the sister's husband, the brother's wife, their kids. And before you know it, you're going, wait a minute. There's 18 people here. I'm paying for this? And sometimes it didn't happen very often. It only happened like twice. So I will be in Pattaya in the near future. As I said a while back, I'll be there in the near future, but I don't know. Maybe it'll be this month. If not, it'll be next month. And then I'm not sure after that because we're supposed to go home to the States, back to the States in May. I'm going to say middle to end of May. And we may, there's a good chance what we'll be doing is I'll be an American in Portugal. Hi, I'm Scott. I'm an American in America. Hi, I'm Scott. I'm an American in Ecuador. And then I'll be back in Thailand. There's a good chance we're going to do that. My wife, she's warming up to that. She's really game for it now, so it may happen. Look him up. Look Bob up. Bob knows Pattaya like the back of his hand. Anyway, bringing something else up, I'm not offended that the Thais say non-immigrant O, non-immigrant OA, non-immigrant M visa, non-immigrant B visa. I don't think they really care either. I don't think they differentiate, and I think immigrant is probably the first word. Let me see here. I don't know, I haven't talked to him in a couple of days. Let me see here. I'm gonna figure this out. Wow, I am wrong. The word expatriate came first, originating in the late 17th century from the Latin roots ex, which means out of, and patria, meaning country. The term immigrant did not emerge until the late 19th century and comes from the Latin immigrare, meaning to move into. Wow, that's interesting. Huh. And one other little tidbit of information: passports became required in the early 20th century. The issuance of passports was made mandatory by many countries during World War I as a means of controlling the movement of people across borders. The League of Nations, an international organization established after World War I, standardized the issuance of passports in 1920, leading to widespread use of passports for international travel. So there you go. We got a little bit of info. So I think that's no, they can't be used concurrently. We just went over that, Jim. Now, not in the sense I think that you mean, but you know, as I said, some people may consider me an immigrant, although by the strictest definition, I don't think I am. Well, they've talked about it. The Thai government has talked about extending the 45-day on arrival visa or no visa entry until the end of this year. So they've talked about it, and I would think it's going to happen simply because they want that tourism money. They want that revenue. It's important, and well, yeah. I mean, that's all I can say. I don't know. I haven't seen anything lately about it, so who knows? Maybe it'll go away. But like I said, I did see something in the news, and it was saying that it could be extended. It's whatever the organization in charge of that might be. They wanted. I think what it be the immigration department. They wanted it extended, or maybe if it was the travel organization, that doesn't carry much weight. But I can't remember the name. There's a bar with hotties in the back and great food in the buffet in the front. Now we're talking about that again. You know, I cannot express how very little the bar scene means to me now. And when I think about it, and when I came over here, you know, obviously when I came over here, I had a lot of fun originally, and I was a tourist. I came over here, had great time, was pissing away, you know, $150 a day, $200 a day, and running around and, you know, hitting the go-go's and hitting the bars and going down to the beach and traveling around Thailand. And I would have never thought I'll be in Thailand and I won't ever go to the bars and go to the go-go's. I would have never thought that. If you told me that in the very beginning, I'd say, no, that's not going to happen. It's right here. It's a good thing to do, you know. And it's not like I'm old and I don't ever think about, you know, hey, I need to get me some. I'm not dead. But, you know, your priorities, they change. Well, you're paying an exit tax here. You're paying an exit tax here. You're going to be paying an entrance tax as well in, I think, July 1st. So I think the total will be 1,000 baht. I think it's 300 for the entry and 700 now for the exit. When I first started coming over here, you had to go to a little booth, pay your 500 baht, and then show the little paper upon exiting. When you went to the immigration booth, they wouldn't even let you through unless you showed that paper. Now, of course, it's just built into the airline ticket, which, you know, that's another whole story. If you look at the airline tickets nowadays, they got stuff on there, and you're like, oh, what's this? What's that? They pad the, you know, they pad it. They pad the fare. It's gotten a bit crazy. Now, one of the things I read the other day is that a lot of Chinese are staying home because the price of airline tickets are too expensive. And where else was that? There was another place. I think it was Malaysia. Maybe it was Indonesia. I can't remember. But one of these places, they said the tourists want to travel domestically now because travel, especially to Europe, is just too expensive. And the Americas, it's just too expensive for them. So they'd rather travel domestically. I can hear Beer's mellifluous voice from here. Music to my ears. Ugh. Well, if it makes you feel any better, Gennaro, I walked in here today and she didn't have her mask on. What? No mask? I think she's got it on now. I was the only, well, there's only one other person in the place right now. One person just left, and this woman and her husband behind me, they come here, they're here every time I've ever been here in the last, say, year. So they just showed up, and now there's a woman sitting here. She just showed up, but when I started the stream, I was the only person here. I was the first person here. And so I don't think she really, she knows first thing in the morning, people are not going to be running into Starbucks, especially now with this big wall up. And you can see that there's a guy walking by with a hard hat. He's inspecting things. Honestly, yeah, you know what? I don't, and there's a reason why, and that is that it's just a hassle. The place is a hassle. Leaving there is a hassle. There's a lot of people in the lines for taxis. There's not as many taxis as Suvarnabhumi. But I understand what you're saying. I mean, yeah, it's very, it's old. And when I first started coming here, that's where I went. And I admit I was one of those guys who I would land and some chick would be waiting for me to pick me up. Only one time did I have some chick go with me to the airport, and she didn't cry or anything like that. It was just like, I'll take you to the airport. I want to make sure that, you get on your way without any problems. And, she was just being nice. And actually, when I flew as a courier, I flew into Don Mueang. I don't know. I'd like to know. Let me see. What was it called? Polo Express, I think. Yeah, they don't even show up. Here's a courier and delivery service. Let me see something. I have to look this up. This concept was popular in the past, but is not as common today due to increased security measures and restrictions on checked baggage allowances. Not to mention, a lot of the paperwork can be done online. It is recommended to check with individual airlines and courier services to deal with this. Let me see something here. Shoot. Now there's a Polar Express, but that's not what it was. I don't see any of these. Let me see here. Okay, here we go now. Some guy wrote, air courier jobs, forget about it. Air courier, what is it? Can you still be an air courier in 2021? Okay, air courier, no. Air travelers get paid to carry. Okay, this is in October of last year, so let me see what they say. This is originating out of Canada, but this says here, let me see here. There was a time, way back before 9/11, that you could travel on an air courier flight for free. Well, it wasn't free, but it was never free for me, but it was at a severe discount. Those days are long gone. Consider this story a trip down memory lane. No couriers between the US and Europe now, only a handful travel to the Far East. There is a service that will pay you to let them have your checked baggage slots on flights to China, however. Ooh. So it's all over for air couriers, apparently. In the good old days, how do you fly to London for $100 round trip? Hong Kong for $300, Rio for $150, Mexico for free. Easy, travel as an air courier. There are numerous air courier companies that will fly you to cities around the world for prices that no consolidator or internet special can beat. The days of air courier flights, however grand they used to be, are done, finished, no more. That sucks. Being an air courier required nothing more than signing up, being willing to, or able to travel light on short notice, and being responsible enough to meet a representative in an airport for a few minutes before beginning your vacation. It wasn't hard, but like some other alternate transportation options, it required a little more planning than simply buying a ticket and climbing on board. Why air travel as an air courier? Short of winning an internet auction or redeeming your frequent flyer miles, there's no other way to travel by plane as cheaply. It is also fun. I don't know about that. A bit of adventure in what is usually a routine mode of transportation. Now, what I will say is, I've been to, back and forth to Bangkok. Probably every time I came to Bangkok in the beginning was done on an air courier flight. So that would be at least 5 times, maybe 6 times. And I don't think I paid more than $500. And I paid as little as $150. The $150, I came here all the way from America. I got to stay for 4 nights. And basically all you had to do is, they would send you an email. You would have that paper. You'd give them your information. You would give them your, your passport and all that information. You give them your vital information. And here was the deal. You had to be there at a certain time. If you miss that, everything's over. Doesn't matter, your excuses are not important, and you will never fly with that courier company again, not that it matters now. But so if I had gone to Bangkok and I drop off my paperwork to the guy, they would tell you where to meet the person. They give you your instructions. And you meet some Thai guy. He didn't speak a word of English. I didn't speak a word of Thai. I just hand over the paperwork to them, and what they would do is they would have somebody meet you at the airport when you were departing, and you had to be there at a certain time. You could not be late, so it paid to be like you know, 45 minutes early, an hour early, just so that you didn't lose your flight. And then they would give you the package. It wasn't a package, it was an envelope. You would have to carry the envelope. And then they would also use your luggage to transport paperwork. And all of it was legit. There was no, you know, drug smuggling or anything like that. And when you get there, you know, you got to meet, before you leave, you got to meet the guy who's picking up the envelope, and then he would go and get everything else, the package and everything. But you had to give him the envelope because that had all the information about the, you know, the flight and what was on it, the cargo. And then you're on your own. So I would go and I'd say, okay, I got 4 nights. You know, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I got 4 nights from now. I got to be at the airport at 10 o'clock in the morning to leave. Again, you better be there on time. If you're not there on time and you miss it, they automatically would cancel your flight. You're on your own. You got to buy your own ticket. And you can never fly with them again. So I was never, ever late, and I always was able to get a good deal. It's too bad they're not around anymore, but let me see something here. It looks like China is one of the only places. Let me see here. There is a place here. Let me see what it says here. It's called Air Mule, farwestchina.com, go/air mule. Let me see if is this thing even good? It's not even coming up. The website's not even coming up. That tells you something. Is the website dead? Let's see if something else comes up. Okay, so this other website came up. The courier site, it's Air Mule, and it's farwestchina.com/go/Air Mule. It doesn't load. So, like this guy's been saying, dead. Now, as a courier is but a courier is also the point person for the shipment, which means you will often be carrying paperwork for the shipment and responsible for making sure that the paperwork is received in its destination. However, once the shipment and the paperwork arrive at the destination, you are free. You may never even see the shipment, or if you do, you certainly won't be handling it directly. Don't worry, you aren't transporting drugs or contraband. Usually the cargo is nothing more than documents or small parcels, and it's all perfectly legal. Yet listen, I can't stand AirAsia. I will pay more money to fly in another airline. I will fly Vietjet. I will fly Nok Air. I'll fly any other airline just to avoid AirAsia, because what I found is they're fine when they're fine, but when they're not fine, they are just absolutely horrific. I hate them with a passion. They are my most hated airline. I can't stand them. The employees have this attitude, like, I'll give you an example. One time I was flying from, I don't know if it was Indonesia to Singapore or Singapore to Cambodia, something like that. But I was doing a trip and I had a connection, and they were both AirAsia flights. So I get on the flight, and AirAsia's like, it's delayed. So it was delayed like 4 hours. Now I had to catch a flight in like 3 hours. I go up and I said, listen, you know, your flight's delayed, and I got another AirAsia flight, a connecting flight, and I need to get on that flight. Oh, well, sorry, this is a budget airline, you can't do any. And I was like, wait a minute. You need to make sure that when I had to bitch and moan. I mean, I was very difficult about it. I didn't yell or scream or anything like that, but I was like, no, this is unacceptable. You need to do something for me. And I just stood there. I wasn't going to leave. Unfortunately, they didn't call the police or anything, but what she did do is she found another flight. That I would be able to get on and to, depart from to get to my destination. But she was she was so nasty about it. And I've told you the stories, and they screwed up on their website was screwed up. This is a long time ago. And they charged me like, I don't know what it was, 10 times for like a $250 flight. And it was like, it charged my bank account. I had all these overdrafts because I only had like $1,000 in the bank. And they charged me like $250. And I was like, listen, I clicked it one time and your site kept spinning and loading. I didn't know what was going on. Oh, well, if you paid for 10 flights and then you're going to fly, and you have 10 tickets. And I was like, wait a minute, how many times can I fly on the same flight? I am not, I don't know what you would call, like it's not me and my 9 brothers. I'm like, I can only use one ticket at a time per time slot. And it's like you're talking to a robot. AirAsia was also the one where I said that the kid was whacking me in the back of the head, and finally I just leaned back in a chair because the mother wasn't doing anything. The kid's standing on the mother's lap, and I just leaned back really hard, and then the little thing fell back into the mother, and it's like shaking. He didn't know what happened, and the mother was kind of like irritated by it, and I'm like, you're irritated with me? This kid's been smacking me in the back of the head for the last hour, and you're not doing anything about it, So between that and then, I did tell the story, and 2Q Asia knows about this because he was there. I had my hands full. Yeah, this site does not work any longer. It no longer works. I had my, okay, so there is an Air Mule app on. There's an Air Mule for sell your luggage allowance and earn up to $500 when you fly between U.S. and China. Well, this is back. Their last post was 3 years ago, so I don't think they're doing business anymore. But I had my hands full, and I get on board. I take about 3 steps, and I had my boarding pass like in my hand, and I had like a bag, and I had something else, and I'm coming in, I'm lugging it in, and the lady goes, "Sir, I need to see your boarding pass. Sir, I need to see your boarding pass." And I tried, and I just went, so I stepped like to the second row and started to put my bags down. And the lady says, "All boarding stop, all boarding stop. Sir, you need to show me your boarding pass." And I was like, holy shit. I was like, you can see, use your brain, you can see that I'm not trying to storm the plane. "Hey, Carlos, how you doing? Where are you?" So that kind of left me with a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. And I don't want to put up with any shit from anybody, especially some stewardess, some air waitress on AirAsia of all airlines. So, I'm like, "Hey, hang on, calm down, lady. Just give me a second." And then showed her the stuff, and then she let me on. But I just thought, you need to remember I'm a customer. You need to value the fact that even if you are a budget airline, your customers matter. Still in the U.S. Feel better? So AirAsia is not my favorite. And the 7 kilos, the small chairs, and all this other kind of stuff. It's just ridiculous. Listen, I'm not a fan of flying. I'm not a fan of going from point A to point B. I'm a fan of getting there, and that's it. It's over. I'm there. That's what I like. I'm at my destination. Now I can do what I came here to do, whatever that may be. But I am no longer a fan of flying. I don't get excited to fly, and I've said this before, even in Chiang Mai. I'm like, I go to Chiang Mai, I'm like, holy shit, this airport is absolutely packed. And then I'm standing in a line. It's like, okay, you gotta come through here. You gotta go through there. Now, oh, sir, take your computer out. Sir, take your belt off. I don't have a belt. Let me see. You know, that kind of stuff. And then internationally, you know, oh, take your shoes off, sir. You know, so I'm like, okay. I just don't, I don't enjoy it. Yeah, I mean, I've flown Jetstar, or JetBlue, or whatever the hell it was called, and they were okay. I mean, I didn't have any problems. I'll tell you what airline is probably this is actually probably worse than Air Asia, and that is Cebu Pacific. I don't know how they are now, but I used to fly back and forth to the Philippines all the time. And you know, of course, I'm trying to save a buck, because the more money I save on the flight, the more money I make. And you know, numerous times I have gone to some 1 o'clock flight, 1 a.m. flight. Flight's been delayed until 5 a.m. or something like that. And I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? You know? So, anyway. Well, in Thailand, it's shoes off at my house all the time. We don't wear our shoes inside the house ever. And that's okay with me. You know, like I said a couple streams ago, where I've been saying, I didn't have the same joy in Vietnam as I did the first time. However, the reason was I wanted to take that train the whole way for a number of reasons. Because I wanted to see how bad it was. It wasn't that bad, but I mean, you're cooped up for a day and a half. And also because I wanted to meet my wife, because that was the original plan. We had talked about meeting in Vietnam. It ended up that she had to go later than me, so we didn't meet there. So I could have stopped a couple places. It probably would have been nicer, but I'm not a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of Hanoi and their food and coffee scene. I am not such a huge fan of Ho Chi Minh. It's just too busy, too noisy. I can get that here. I mean, you know. I always fly with Asian carriers to Asia and North America over Pacific. I won't be flying a Chinese airline, I can tell you that. We're working at the airport, and the evening never went by without a fist fight at the Spirit counter. Yeah. Hey, man. You know, people get pissed. They gotta make their, you know, their appointment. They've got something they've got to attend. They've got to attend a wedding. They've got to do this. They've got to do that. And people get pissed off. You know. I'm going to Vietnam next month. Any advice for traveling there? Keep an open mind. You going alone or with the wife? Keep an open mind. Use Grab to get around, because Grab is very reasonable there. Hit Highlands Coffee. That's a great coffee shop there. Great chain there. Prices are much better than Starbucks, and I think the coffee is much better as well. Pick up some coffee in Vietnam. And it depends on where you're going in Vietnam. I would say if you want to go somewhere kind of cool and kind of different, go to Quy Nhon. That's the place that I've been that I love. Oof. Dude, you are a better man than me. I would not do that if you paid me. Again, see, I'm never along for the ride. I don't want to be along for the ride. I've been traveling too damn long on my own and with the wife and with the kids once in a while, but on my own. I've been doing it for since I was about 25. So, and even before then I did it, but I did it with my family back in the States. So 35 years, 36 years, I've been traveling on my own for the most part, and I like it that way, you know. With the wife, that'd be one thing, but with colleagues, I mean, yeah, I'm sorry. I can't do it, man. That's your path, Jim. I hope it works out for you. That's what I'm going to say. So anyway, listen, where am I here? I got to everything. Like I said, today is the last day that this Starbucks will be open for another 5 months. Yeah, logistically, every way, it's much easier. I agree, Carlos, and that's why I like to travel on my own most of the time. The wife is a pretty experienced traveler now, and so yeah, she's got some. She knows her stuff, and actually she helps more than she hinders, which is a big thing. She doesn't complain much or anything like that. So, but today is the last day here. I can't believe they're shutting this place down for 5 months. I'm still in shock. And aside from my office, my little office at home, and the occasional walk around, or going somewhere and streaming from someplace like the Dragon Temple or wherever it might be, Ayutthaya, Bangkok on Sukhumvit Road, whatever. I don't know where. I don't know what place will fill in during these 5 months. There is a Starbucks on Soy 101, but it's a much less convenient than this place, which is very convenient. I have no idea where I'll be streaming from, and really I don't even know if I'll be streaming in the next couple of days. Like I said, I'm trying to beat last month's record. I'm not there yet. So get your t-shirt, get your book, become a member, subscribe, leave a thumbs up, check the description, do whatever you gotta do. Wherever I end up streaming from, and I do have some videos going up, like I said, wherever it may be, I don't know, I'll find a place. And eventually, in due time, it may become just as lovable of a place as this place. And I don't love it for the coffee or the barista. It's just basically because it's comfortable and convenient here. So don't get it twisted, but I will find a place eventually. Do me a favor, leave a thumbs up, subscribe, check the description. Check my website out. You know, I don't mean to. Well, the Rap God doesn't open until 11 o'clock. I need to find a place that opens at really at about 8 o'clock. And I don't want to go to the Rap God. I do my thing usually, but it's best to book a tour going to Egypt. Too many scams. Going June or July. Yeah, I got a buddy who went there. I don't know that he used a tour or what. I don't remember if he said anything happened. I don't particularly care to go to Egypt. I don't care about the pyramids, or I don't know why. I just don't. I'd like to go to Morocco, but not. I don't have a hankering to go to Egypt. I don't want to get thrown in some Egyptian jail. That's another thing. Now I think to myself, you know, if I go there, am I going to have to like fight for my life, or am I going to have to kill somebody? You know, I mean, is that the kind of place it is? As a traveler, you don't want that. You really don't want that. you want to find a way around that, you know. And that's one of the reasons why I like Thailand. Now I do have a video coming up, and it is I'm gonna list the things that I love and hate about Thailand. And I'm not gonna give you the, oh, well, you know, Thai people are so friendly and, you know, it's such a beautiful place. I'm not gonna give you the standard answers. I've got some that you may not expect. So that video will be coming up probably in the next week. I'm not sure when it's scheduled to go up yet. I gotta look at the whole scheduling thing. But thank you for joining me. It was a pretty good stream. And no problems, no issues. I am still looking into and actually today, tomorrow and Thursday, I'll be testing out the different methods of streaming with somebody in the stream with me, because I want to get to Mark, who was, as I've said several times now, he was kidnapped by the Taliban, and he's been wanting to come to Thailand for quite some time. I want to get to the insurance agent. I want to get Chucky in here. I want to get Tom in here. And, well, Tom's not a problem really, but I want to get him in here. And there are other things that I'm looking into now. So hopefully I'll get everything squared away and the test will turn out positive, and we'll just take it from there. So anyway, guys, thank you very much. Appreciate it. I know that one of the places that we will visit is the Starbucks on Soy 101, and the reason being is that Miss Beer will be there, and of course I've got to make everybody happy to see her. So there we go. That is all. Thank you, that is all. Leave a thumbs up, and I'll see you when I see you. Choke D, Leo, Jerk, and Mine, all that good stuff. Until next time.